Hey guys, what's going on? It is Chris here. We are looking ahead to Prizepicks, as I mentioned in the last video. If you guys watched that, we are going to be looking ahead to today's slate for NBA and for some MLB. Some of these MLB games are going to be locking early that I'm going to be talking about. So if you guys see it early, lock in the prize, lock them in. If not, there's a couple later ones. So like I said, I'm going to start doing this. If you guys do like the Prize Picks videos and want me to do them more, like I said, leaving a like will show that you guys want them more often. As I mentioned in the last video, like I said, we got FanDuel, DFS. Still got that going on, but, last couple years, player props really have taken over the industry. So that's what we're going to go and focus on here today. So, like I said, this is just me kind of looking around and everything like that. If you guys do want some premium Price Picks, or you guys just like, want some free ones or buy in with me, or whatever the case is, message us on our Twitter. Like I said, we're all here to win money all together. Chris Anthony, MDA1, that's where to follow us. Like I said, message us on there. Say, hey, would love to get in on Price Picks, or hey, what do you think of this guy, or that? Like I said, if you want any advice or anything like that, I can help you guys out, and we can help each other out. And like I said, if you want premium, $20 per month for Prize Picks. So yeah, so let's get into it here. So me being a DFS player, I like focusing on fantasy score and points, rebounds, and assists. That's the two ones that I really focus on. There's so many of them, but these are the ones I do. I do fantasy score because I have a projection model that simulates each game 10,000 times, and it kind of tells me, the best outcome on fantasy scores. So I think right away, one guy that is intriguing to me is Adam Bona. I think he's in play, especially if Yabusele is out. If Yabusele is out, it's going to be a little bit harder for him. But if Yabusele is out, and obviously if he is announced out, they're going to change this line, I'm guessing. But I really like Bono here. Kind of been an all around player, getting your points, getting your rebounds, a couple assists. Like I said, if Yabusele plays, may not play him, but at 25.5, I think he can easily hit that fantasy ceiling there. Um, and then another guy here, Justin Edwards, another guy that kind of gets helped out by Yavaseli if he's not playing. Did not do good at all against the Knicks with only 8.4. But if he's going to continue being in the starting lineup, get me about 10 to 12 shots at 21.5, I definitely don't mind it. I know Grimes is back, I get that, but 21.5 for Edwards, I think is very doable, especially if Yabusele is out. So that's another guy to look at on the over. Speaking of Mr. Quentin Grimes, I personally think 37.5 is a little too low. He came back against New York, scored 44.3. I know that's his old team. But like I said, Philly doesn't really have anybody else. He's the main scorer on that team right now. Maxey just got announced out for the year. So I think Grimes can, I personally think he can hit the 37.5. He's one of my favorite fantasy plays of the day. So I think personally 37 is a little low. My projection models like Wagner, they got him at 42. I'm on like the about him just because Wagner's kind of screwed me over so much in the past, and like I said, it's a back to back for Toronto, so they could just straight suck here. So if anything, I don't mind it, but if anything, maybe do first half fantasy score, first half points or something with Wagner and Paulo Banchero. I like that with a couple of those Orlando guys, putting them in the first half because the second half may just suck. Um, I don't mind Corey Joseph on the under here. I know that's a little risky. I expect him to start here, but that last game when he got 9, Cole Anthony came back on the bench and played 19 minutes. So I expect Cole Anthony to ramp up his minutes if he plays here, 20, 23 minutes. So yes, it's an easy matchup on paper. The only thing I'm really like worried about is like those first 6 or 7 minutes for Joseph. If he gets like 10 or 12 fancy points, we're kind of screwed. But he's not really an offensive guy. They've been limiting his minutes. Last time he only played 18 minutes with Cole Anthony coming back. So that's why I don't mind taking the under here. My projection model has him at 11.5, so about 4 under. So I don't mind it. I usually don't take unders, but I don't mind that one there. Um, you got Shannon Sharp as well, 34.5. I don't mind. I mean, like I said, him and Quentin Grimes are my two favorite DFS players. So at 34.5, I personally think he can hit that. Might be a little harder with Simons in there, but same thing with Denny Avila. They're not like must plays, but man, I think they can easily hit that fantasy score. Same thing with RJ Barrett if Barnes is out. So keep that all in mind. Kamara's actually a little high at 28.5. I think that's a little high, but I wouldn't do the under on it. Klingman, my boy, I wish it was 26. I'd take a shot, but 31, that's a little high. They're expecting him to have a good game here too. So, kind of like I said in the DFS. So you can hit the over, but 31 is a little high for me. I wish, like I said, 20, 27, 28. I still think he can hit it, but it's a little risky since he hasn't done that at all in foul trouble. So that's kind of what we're looking at there at the fancy points. Let's go look at the points, rebounds, and assists. So this is obviously they need to get points, rebounds, and assists total. We got Bonner, as I mentioned, 17.5. I think it's personally a little low. Gets rebounds, gets a couple points, depending on Yabusele. So another one to look at it, 17.5 there. See what else we're looking. Wendell Carter could get the 19.5. I feel like that's easy, but looks like they're not really playing him much. I don't see a ton for points, rebounds, and assists. Maybe Denny Avila, 37.5 is freaking high, though, but he's been popping off. Like I said, it all depends on Simons for me on that one. See anybody down here? Like I said, Ware, 22.5 is really low, but they just don't play the guy, so that kind of sucks. Bam's only at 28.5, but sorry, Bane, but he is facing Miami. Like I said, Larson's in a very good spot here, especially if Wiggins sits. So if you think he's going to sit again, Larson, and if he's in the starting lineup, 18.5 is really low. Davion Mitchell, I think, is going to have a good game here. I think 19's low. He's hit that 4 out of his last 5. Taking on a Memphis team, faster pace. Mitchell likes to steal the ball. Memphis likes to run up and down the court. Sometimes they turn the ball over. So Mitchell is probably one of the plays I don't mind, and I don't mind his fancy points either. All right, let's go look at some baseball. Not a ton of baseball, like I said, going on. We only have a couple games here. But once again, let's go look at the fantasy score here for you guys. And we're going to go type in baseball RotoWire just so you guys can see what I'm looking at here. So, like I said, posted baseball yesterday, went 2 for 2 on Wood and Wilson Contreras, so not too bad. Both those guys actually popped off pretty well. So, like I said, if you guys see this before, 100%, but like I said, some of these picks I'm going to have are going to be from the early games. So, yeah, so looking at it, like I said, I'm going to be doing fantasy score. I love fantasy score. My projection model is actually kind of like a couple Colorado bats here against Philadelphia and Taiwan Walker. Doyle and Tovar are the two that popped up in Ryan McMahon. So I want to go fancy points over on those guys. I know they're risky because it's obviously Colorado. Mind it, even they even have Fire Flame. So some other people are picking up on it as well. So Tovar, McMahon, and Doyle. Doyle and Tovar are my two favorites from this one. For fantasy, all they need is a double. That's all they need. And like I said, my models and other people are projecting Colorado to have a half decent game here. So I don't mind them. I really don't mind them here. And then if you're doing the late one, I don't mind a couple Arizona guys because they are taking on Carlos Carrasco, and Carrasco's 36 or 37 years old. Definitely past his prime a little bit. So, and we kind of saw what a couple of the bats for Arizona can do. So, Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, Josh Naylor, I don't mind their overs at all on the fantasy score. Their scores are going to be a little bit higher than obviously the guys from from Colorado, but I really don't mind them. Yeah, 6.5 for Ketel Marte. I think you can get that. 7 for Carroll. Like I said, these are higher on the higher end, but Carrasco is not a good pitcher, and I think they can get to him here. So Carroll and Marte are also some of my other favorite plays. Haven't really looked at pitching strikeouts yet. I think these guys are all kind of where they should be. You could take the under on Nestor Cortez, even though Cincinnati has been striking out quite a bit. But yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at. Hopefully, you guys get a couple of those in there. I didn't do, like I said, didn't have a ton of time to look at MLB, but like I said, a couple of those Colorado bats, as I mentioned, a couple of those, a couple of those Diamondbacks, as I mentioned as well, and then NBA. Showed you all those guys. So once again, I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for that. If you guys like the video, leave a like. Like I said, the more likes I get, it shows support that you guys want price pick kind of videos, and I can break them down a lot more in the future, going in depth of why I like each person if you guys are interested in that. So yeah, that's mostly if you guys want to get in on premium price picks. Like I said, only $20 for the month, and you're going to get about 2 to 4 picks a day. And like I said, they're all going to be coming from my simulation models, not me personally, from my actual models simulating 10,000 times. So you're going to be getting, some of the best lines that you can get for price picks. So, like I said, if you want that, let us know. Chris Anthony, NBA1 on Twitter. Give us a follow. Message us. Hey, we'd love to get in on premium. Also, we will drop a couple free ones over there as well on our Twitter. From time to time, so definitely keep an eye out on that. So once again, guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys in the next one.